Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as a proud union coal miner for 30 years, I have to rise to speak against this job-killing motion put forward by the NDs, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is not just a study, as the member from Livingston-McLeod would suggest. If you read the motion put forward by the member, it's to urge the government to commit to an immediate study and drafting of a plan to phase out all coal-generated plants in Alberta by 2030. So it's not just a study, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as a member from rural Alberta, I think he would want to stand up for rural Albertans, Mr. Speaker, and make sure that we have positive jobs for them moving forward into the future. Mr. Speaker, the coal industry has been providing jobs to thousands of Albertans each and every year right across this province. In fact, over 1,800 coal mines have operated in Alberta since the 1800s. In the 1860s, coal mining began near what is known as now as Lethbridge. The first mine that operated right here in Edmonton, Mr. Speaker, was 1883. And of course, my constituency of West Yellowhead was built on coal through the coal branch south of Hinton and Edson. And one of the reasons I came west, Mr. Speaker, as a fourth-generation miner, I was proud to come and work for Lusker Coal Company. Mr. Speaker, in 2009, Alberta produced 31 million tonnes of marketable coal. We have strong environmental regulations already in place for the coal industry. And Mr. Speaker, the coal industry's reclamation is world-renowned for the work they do. The bighorn sheep, for example, are icons within, not only in Alberta but right across North America for the work done on reclamation in the coal industry. And Mr. Speaker, existing measures are already in place, reducing our reliance on coal. However, Mr. Speaker, it needs to be said that there's enough coal right now for the next 600 years to supply Alberta with the energy they need moving forward. And we could be a leader, Mr. Speaker, in clean coal technology if we wanted to be. Mr. Speaker, this year we estimate that natural gas, including cogeneration, will surpass coal as the largest source of electrical generation in Alberta. And in 2013, just half of Alberta's actual electricity generation came from coal. The share of coal has been declining for more than two decades. Mr. Speaker, these mines have always provided opportunities for Albertans and create good-paying jobs, and in most cases good-paying union jobs, Mr. Speaker, and that should not be lost on anybody. Mr. Speaker, in fact, the average coal mining wage is more than twice that of the average natural wage, according to information gathered by PricewaterhouseCoopers. The estimated average salary in 2011 was $92,785 in the coal industry, while the national average salary was $43,700, Mr. Speaker. Jobs in the coal industry provide families with great sources of income, which help support our communities, our economy, and provide income taxes to both the provincial and federal coffers. Mr. Speaker, in addition, coal companies support non-profit organizations that support our rural communities. For example, in my riding alone, the Edson Kinsman Spray Park was donated by a coal company, Mr. Speaker. Lusker and Hinton provided the curling rink, worked on the community centre, and provided all kinds of different non-profit organizations with money to help them through their process. Also in Grand Cache Coal, Mr. Speaker, Grand Cache Coal was a prime mover in getting the town of Grand Cache built and all the work they did in their rec centre and employing people in that area. Mr. Speaker, there are countless examples of how industry supports our rural towns and villages, whether it's Forestburg, Hanna, Wainwright or Wabamun. In addition to supporting non-profit organizations, the industry creates opportunities for small businesses and entrepreneurs which contribute to our economy. Unfortunately, we've seen what can happen and the industry isn't successful. The community of Grand Cache and my constituency of West Yellowhead is one of those examples. It's heavily dependent on the coal industry. The local mine has been struggling as of late and has had to lay off employees, which has devastated the town. Following the layoffs, a number of small businesses have had to close their doors. This not only has an economic impact, but it creates a psychological impact as doors of business close and people move away. The community is struggling, and the ND motion would only create an even more dire situation. We need to do what we can to ensure the industry is viable so communities like Grand Cache can thrive and survive. Mr. Speaker, with families across this province losing jobs in the oil and gas industry, we must keep Albertans working. Keeping Albertans working is a priority for our government. Unlike the NDs, we're not going to take away actions that cost Albertans their jobs. From Coleman to Rob, this industry is important to communities across the province. I am firmly against the ND motion today, as it would kill jobs and negatively impact communities in my riding, Jasper. When people say, why Jasper? Because CN is a hub in Jasper, Mr. Speaker, and those employees take coal of the coast from all the mines in West Yellowhead. Grand Cache, Hinton, Edson, Rob, Brule, all communities in my riding depend on the coal industry. Let's keep Albertans working and let's support rural Alberta and our economy, Mr. Speaker.
Minister,